Hey, my name is Jeremy. If you're clicking on this video, you're interested in my experience of being an online doctoral student. I am in the 9th week of 10 in this class. I'm doing 2 classes at a time. One is independent review in preparation for the submission of the introduction and literature review of the topic that we'll be doing for our capstone or dissertation. The other class is about qualitative methods, and thankfully I have been doing fairly well in the classes, but man, it's been a stretch. When picking your topic, what I realize in hindsight is your topic has to be something that you're truly interested in, and I would encourage you to find something that will benefit you in terms of career or whatever your goal is or whatever your why is for getting into the program. It will give you that much more, motivation to get it done. For example, right now I'm in HR as an HR business partner. Of course, this video has nothing to do with my employer, but for the sake of conversation, my project or capstone is going to be around being an HR business partner. Originally, my topic had nothing to do with what I did on a daily basis, which kind of was pulling me in a direction that I don't typically think, or I don't typically have excitement about doing. And thus, gathering materials, reviewing articles, and all that fun stuff was not easy. It was very challenging because I really didn't care about it as much as what I do on a daily basis, which is HR. And once I get this across the finish line, the benefit of me working on this is I'll be that much more knowledgeable about the field of HR and the topics that I'm doing my project on in a way that would help me add value in work and help me differentiate myself amongst my counterparts and peers. So not to say that everybody has the ambition of career progression. Some people genuinely love learning, which I thoroughly do. Again, knowing that you'll have to have 30, 40, 50, 60 articles of references, I should say, that you'll need in your dissertation or capstone, maybe even more references. Finding topics that interest you and that are aligned with your end goal will help make the process easier. It's not an easy process to begin with, so imagine doing all of this work on a topic that you're like, really don't care, right? So I hope that you take that away. I think after this, after I read and do a part of my assignment, then I'll give myself a mental break, do some physical activity, go to the gym for an hour, maybe even a little bit more, and then come back, do some mental health. Meditation is what I was trying to say, to focus on my mental health, and then jump back on the assignment so I can turn it in tomorrow and do my responses. I will not miss doing that in this class. And I should be good to go. So, that's it for this update. Again, today's February 9th at about 6 o'clock. I had a full day of work, had a full week of work, and I did not study on pace like I normally do this week. But you'll have weeks where you aren't able to study. You'll have weeks where you aren't able to keep on schedule like you normally would, but don't beat yourself up about it. Just keep the momentum going. I think that's important. Even if you aren't on pace or schedule like you want to be, as far as the schedule that you set to get things done, keep the momentum. At least take one step, even if it's read a couple pages here, take a break, read a couple pages there, take a break, just keep going. And I still have to do work for my day job, right? So it's a balancing act, but as long as you're protecting your mental health, giving yourself breaks, giving yourself grace, not stressing yourself out, it is definitely doable. Have a great day. So this is an update, February 10th, 4:37 p.m. I just completed this week's assignment for my first class. I have one more week left, which means one more assignment and then one big paper in my other class, my second class. And then I'll be on a 2-week break, which is so needed. Transparent moment, I'm very tired. I'm very, I won't say anxious, but I'm just, how can I say, anticipating, well, I guess anxious is the right word, but anticipating this big paper that I have that's due next week, which is the introduction in literature for the capstone or dissertation that I'll be doing. And it's worth 200 points. And I want to do a good job because I know that if I do well now, it will make life easier later on. So my intention is to be proactive with my assignment in my first class to get that done early. So I have all of next week to focus on just that one thing, because I still have to work, still have to be a human being, still have to go to the gym, eat, socialize, all of those things. But I just want to give myself the space to be able to focus solely on that big paper that I have, so that way I don't create additional stress, which would reduce my effectiveness and all that fun stuff that we know happens when you get stressed. I'm going to go out for a ride just to really give myself a mental break, to not think about school, and to prioritize my mental health, be present with my support system, and ensure that I'm giving myself grace. I think it's important at any level of study that you dedicate time to be a human being, to prioritize your mental health, because that is the foundation to everything that you do in your program. If your mental health is not good, if you're not present, if you're not giving yourself grace, then really you're just a stressed out individual who's surviving, trying to get through the assignments to get a grade. And thus you're not soaking in the material, which that's not good. It's not maybe not the best use of time, right? If you're going to have to go through anything, create the mental clarity that you need in order for it to make sense, so that way you can apply it when you get out of school. One thing that I didn't talk about in my last update was the importance of networking. So I am super intentional about networking at work, and I need to do it outside of work. Networking used to be for me a big, hairy, scary thing that I didn't want to do as an introvert and somebody who prefers deeper connections. I just thought networking was about the good old buddy system, and it's not. Or at least that's the way that I approach it. I approach it through learning and an exchange of information and building relationships based on trust and a genuine willingness to connect with people. And I'm glad that I'm doing that early, so that way by the time I walk across the stage, I won't have to run around to different people to say, look what I did. They've been a part of my journey and can see my growth, taking the proactive approach to networking. By the time that I graduate, I want to have any other opportunity career-wise or whatever opportunity it might be already lined up, and not wait until I graduate to have the opportunity. I know that more opportunities will present themselves as a result of me having the credentials, but I just want to be proactive. So networking is critically important, and people want to know who they're working with. That's another reason that I think networking is important. It's like inviting a stranger into your house. If you're just blindly applying to jobs and you're not, you don't have connections, even if it's just that, hey, I know you from somewhere. Human nature is you're more likely to go with something you know than something that you don't know, right? So just keep that in mind as you go through your program. How can you leverage your your homework assignments, and the things that you're talking about in class to connect with people and exchange ideas with people, and to showcase your abilities to process large volumes of information to people who are in positions of influence and the ability to make decisions, right? Be proactive about that, so that way you don't have to struggle with it later on. I think that's it for this video. I'll probably make one more update if I decide to start on next week's homework, to give myself space for the big assignment that I have in my second class. So this might be the last update, but we'll see. Have a great day. Today is February the 11th, and it's about 11:51 a.m. I just got through doing a few hours worth of work for like my job, my day job, and I am going back and forth with the idea of doing week 10 assignment, which is the final week in my first class, so that way I can spend this entire week focusing on a major assignment due in my second class. But I still have more work to do as far as my job is concerned. So balancing both can be challenging. It's the weekend, so ideally you would think that I wouldn't be working, but life does not happen that way, as we all know. So I'm gonna give myself a brain break and then go with whatever direction I'm leaning towards at that time when I have a little bit more brain power to think. I did meditate this morning, so I had some opportunity to get clarity on some other things that I'm dealing with, and that made it easier for me to get through the work that I needed to get through for my job. And it seems like people are enjoying the video, or the updates, I should say, which I'm glad that you're making comments, because you don't really know if this vlog or sharing experiences, if you will, is helpful unless someone says it, especially if you're not talking about the topics that people are interested in. I'm trying my best to paint a realistic picture of like what it's like. It's not easy. Like when you see somebody with their doctoral hood, it looks good, right? But the journey that it takes to get there is either going to make or break people. And I'd rather people have a good, solid understanding, a vivid understanding of what it's like to go from not having education at the doctorate level to getting that doctoral hood. So hopefully this continues to give that picture, so that way you can set yourself up for success. Today is February 11th still, and I took a glance at the assignment for my second class and realized that there are two assignments that are due, not just one major one. With that being said, I am going to dedicate time to getting week 10 assignments in my first class done today, so that way I have enough space to work on the two assignments that are done in my second class. I believe that I've spoken to the importance of looking at your assignments when they're due and scanning through to identify the level of effort that you'd have to put into your assignments earlier in the week, because the last thing that you want to do is sit down on a Saturday when your assignment is due at 11:59 p.m. and not have enough time to do everything that requires, that your assignment requires. So I'm glad that I looked ahead, so that way I know that I need to rearrange the time allocated to doing assignments differently than what I had planned to do earlier in the updates that I provided for this week. So I just wanted to give you a realistic example of aha moments that I'm having, even being halfway through my program. Hope this helps. Hello, today is February the 16th at 6:45 p.m. In the most recent updates, you've seen me talk about being in the final week for the two classes that I'm in currently. So the two classes in this Sunday. You saw me go through my thinking process of getting assignments done in my first class early, so that way I would have more time in my second class to do two major assignments. I was able to get a portion of my assignment in my first class done, but needed to wait for other people to do their discussion boards in order for me to respond. And I'm done with that class. One thing that I want to say about keeping pace in the class, I do recognize that there was a benefit to me getting my assignments done early, but there was a moment when I tried to keep pushing to get the work done, and I kept hitting a mental wall. I was reading my peers' discussion boards, trying to process what they were saying, but I was exhausted from work and just from life in general. So I didn't do the responses then. I want to say that I took a nap and then did something mindless and then came back to the discussion later on. I actually went to the gym. And then I came back to the discussions and was able to read and respond with my articles just fine. So just be mindful of the stress that you're putting yourself on, and not to push yourself so hard that you are not effective in what you're trying to do. So the rest of this weekend will be focused on me finalizing the assignments in the second class. So I've already talked to my support system that lives with me, let them know, hey, I'm going to be heads down for the weekend. I might go to the movies with you just to, take a break, but anticipate me being a little disconnected so I can get this assignment, or these assignments, I should say, over the finish line. It's important for me to communicate to my support system because I never want them to feel that they're a bother, or they are, adding on more to me than what I have to do individually, like with work and school. So this week is all about pacing yourself. I believe I talked about networking, which is truly, truly, truly important. Take the proactive approach. Hey, I'd love to spend 15 to 20 minutes on your calendar to talk about the topic of blank, 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 which I saw you discuss in a video or in a webcast, on a kickoff, on in an article that I read about you. Time permitted, may I put time on your calendar? Something as simple as that. Your goal is to establish a working relationship, trust, exchange information, learn, so that way they can see you as a value add to whatever they're trying to accomplish. And hopefully over time, in having those conversations with them, they see potential in you doing X, Y, and Z, and they can advocate for you or reach out to people on your behalf, as long as you do your part in setting yourself up to be a viable candidate for whatever opportunity it is that you're going for. You interview well, and your record as far as performance and behavior is spotless. So networking is really, really important. Again, network while you're in your program, so that way you already have opportunities lined up as you're walking across the stage, compared to networking once you've walked across the stage. Don't take that approach. I think you would speed up the process if you start the networking and looking for job opportunities while in the program. Speaking of looking for job opportunities, switching jobs while in a doctoral in any program, but in a doctoral program, depending on what the job is, can be a lot. And I did that when I switched jobs to my current job, from an HR center of excellence to an HR business partner or HR generalist, or whatever it might be called in your organization. The learning curve for this role that I'm in now is very steep. So a lot of information is like drinking from a fire hose. I heard that constantly. I was prepared for it, but then when it actually happened, I was like, oh, okay, this is a different level. So just keep in mind that if you take on new opportunities while you're in a program, that learning curve on top of the program that you're in at whatever level can be a lot. So just keep that in mind. It's not impossible, but it could create some stress, in all transparency. So I'll wrap this video up. Hopefully you were able to take away a lot of things that you can keep in mind as you go into your doctoral program assignments, networking. I'm thoroughly glad that I'm pushing forward with the program. Of course, there were nights and moments where I'm like, this is not worth it, but yes, it is worth it. I'm going to keep going. My ability, when I pull myself present and really actively listen, my ability to listen to things that are happening at work and apply the things, or at least the the way of thinking to solving those problems has increased significantly as a result of me being in a doctoral program. Granted, I may not have the breadth and depth that I want to have with helping solve the problem, but I can tell a difference between when I started my program and where I'm at now, and I only see it increasing. It's like building a muscle in terms of doing your assignments in your program and then applying it to what you're doing at work. No, it won't be one for one, but your way of soaking in information, critically evaluating that information, being dependent on research, extracting the information that's relevant, looking at things through different lenses and approaching it differently. All of those things that you learn in doing your assignments is a muscle that is built that can be used in the workplace. I hope that made sense. But I'll probably do another update once I finish these 2 major assignments to kind of set you up for how I'm going to give myself a mental break, which I already have some travel lined up, a mental break in between classes, because your mental health is so important in life in general, right? That's foundational, but especially when you're going through whatever educational journey that you're going through. So again, February 16th at about 7, I'm going to jump on these 2 assignments and then get this done so I can relax. Have a great day.